Welcome back to the Games Revealed podcast. I am James and also the Brink.
And I am Suzie.
And we're here to bring you in another spicy episode because this week we have some controversy.
Ooh, spicy.
What controversy is that? Do you know? I given you any hints at this?
And that would be issues with Mortal Kombat being weird and spastic.
Yeah, so they decided, the Mortal Kombat team decided, the dev team or whoever, there's multiple decision makers there, decided, hey, you know what? We're going to reboot the series. We're going to go from Mortal Kombat 11 to Mortal Kombat 1. And with that, we're also going to reboot the graphics back to PlayStation 1, at least for the Nintendo Switch.
Interesting. And I'm assuming this is not for like retro nostalgia.
No, this is for the bling bling. So today we want to talk about just graphics, the silliness, and honestly, I say silly, the ridiculousness. Like it's pretty brazen to charge $70 for this Play-Doh mess. And so we're gonna.
Can we just talk about that price tag, $70?
Yeah,
That's expensive.
Oh, we can get into that first, but we're going to talk about things around that. But yeah, $70. What do you think? $70, is that worth it for games nowadays?
Sorry, I've got like something in my eye and it's like bugging me.
It's a tear because the death of $60 games is here.
I know. I'm shedding tears. Maybe not physically, but emotionally I am.
So $70.
Yeah. 70 that's a lot. Like, that is so much. I'm trying to think. Like, I remember when they were like $49.99.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they were cheaper than that, before that. But
they were, but like $49.99 was I believe early 2000s is about the price range. And then it went up to $59.99 once the 2010s hit. And then now that we're in the 2020s, 70 or $69.99 is kind of the naughty number, with 69 being the naughty number. And to be fair, though, at least it's not like the price of a hamburger, which is what, $100 nowadays. That's what it feels like.
Sounds about right.
With inflation, inflation adds, let's say, food prices have doubled in the past 10 years. At least we haven't seen game prices double in the last 10 years.
True.
With food prices, ridiculous. I think it's inflated. It's for profit.
Next thing you know, we'll be taking wheelbarrows of marks down to the supermarket.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, right. So I'm going to have 3 credit cards just to get a burger.
Do you have a credit card limit of this much? Sorry, you can't get a burger.
Sorry. Burgers are only for those people that can have $10,000 in each card. I don't know, man. But
some medical insurances have done it.
That's because that's a whole other topic. With the price, like $70, I will be an advocate. Actually, I would, and I like to look on the bright side of things. Suzie likes to look on the negative side. No, I'm just kidding. It depends.
You can admit it. I'm the glass half empty side of this relationship.
All depends. It all depends on what it is. I think it could be worse than $70. Like I talked about, inflation and everything else. Like, we should just be glad it didn't go up. My problem is with this topic, I don't think they're paying devs really anymore. I'm a developer myself. Products, profits, everything's going up, like at the companies I've worked at. Mm-hmm. And my paycheck technically has gone down.
True.
Over the past few years. I make less than I was a couple years ago. Yeah. Technically. Which is sad as an engineer. And it's the same thing. It's not getting much better. So when I see games not going up too much, that's not too bad. It's just, if it does go up, they better be paying those developers more, and they're not. They're pocketing it. Yeah. So that's the thing that gets me pissed off. That's what grinds my gears.
It's not really being reinvested into the company or to make anything better, or really to cover any actual cost to make a game. In a lot of ways, it's just
It's for profit. They have to. It's short-term profit, and you guys have heard me say this multiple times. If you follow any of the content I make, is that they want short-term gains that looks really good. That's all these companies really do. They don't look at the long term. They usually look at short term. That being said, because of the price of this, it could be worse for AAA games. Because let's say if Call of Duty was $150, people would buy that. Some people, that's all they play. Of course, they're going to buy Call of Duty.
Yeah.
If they only play 1 or 2 games a year, they'll have money for that.
Yeah.
It definitely will hurt indie games and other games, because if they want to pick up something else, they'll most likely, the more games goes up and paid doesn't, people are going to pick and choose more and more, or wait for those sales, which doesn't help the small to medium sized companies as much.
No.
So, yeah. What do you think is, I don't know, do you think a Switch game should be $70?
No, absolutely not.
Any Switch game?
It would have to be like the most exclusive, like
there's a ton of exclusive games that
yeah,
Nintendo
I
does.
know, but it would have to be like something crazy, like exclusive to that you could only get on Switch. That was like something incredible to me to be $70. I mean, the Switch has been out for how many years now?
Yeah, the Switch has been out for, people are going to correct me, but I think around 7 years, 8 years.
Okay.
And I think it needed a new version 5 years or
right,
2
I'm
years
like
ago.
Totally gonna creep people out because I keep touching my eyes.
No, you're good.
Like, I think my mascara is like flaking into it, and it's like my eye.
You know, she's just crying over the prices. She doesn't like the prices.
They're so bad, you guys. It's
so bad. No one else can buy the games that they need. I mean, a lot of people, if they're trying to penny pinch, though,
yeah,
they usually just wait and get the, but Nintendo's a different topic when it comes to sales and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo rarely has decent sales, as is, and I don't know how long has the PS4 been out?
The PS4?
Yes.
I think it came out in 2011, 2012.
Okay, and nobody really, does anyone really release for PS4 anymore?
Kind of. Cyberpunk 2077 was released on PS4. It did not do well.
That's right, yeah. Okay, but even still, that was a couple of years ago.
That was a couple of years ago. I think there's still a couple of games that do get released, but not a lot.
Okay. So, and that's the thing. These games are getting, so having a $70 game, sorry, you're looking something up now.
It's been over 6 years now since Switch is released.
Okay.
Sorry, continue.
So Switch has been out for 6 years.
PS4 has been out since 2013. I was going to say 2011 and 2013. I always get those all mixed up.
So 10 years.
So it's been out for 10 years, yeah.
Okay, cool. It's the same thing with that. With Switch has not been really updated in a very long time. 4 more years, it's going to be a decade. And
it's the type of tech, too, that when it came out, the tech was already about 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah.
So the tech in it is getting close to a decade.
A decade. Okay. Yeah. So that's the thing. So just looking at like PlayStation, like the PS4, very little is being released that works on the PlayStation 4 anymore.
It's being deprecated out because it's a last gen.
Exactly. So why am I paying $70 for a console that's basically next gen and was behind its time when it came out?
That's a good point, because I don't think you're like, with PS4 games, they're usually they're $59.99. They're not the $69.99. I think typically it's only the current gen, which is some people call it next gen, is the next price up.
Yeah.
Switch, and some of these companies are trying to get away with it on the Switch.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. I do understand in the sense of like the Switch is kind of Nintendo's only real gaming device at the moment.
It's their only one technically that they're supporting.
People still have Wii U's and Wii's.
Well,
and
they have
whatever,
the 3DS kind of system, whatever, but Nintendo, like,
yeah,
the Switch is kind of,
the Switch is it,
yeah.
and so it's like, I get it. It's the only thing that they have right now, so that's what they have. But their technology has not been updated. It's not. It's not on par with anything else on the market now. And so why am I going to spend, $70 that I'd put into my PS5, my Xbox, my, any other device?
That's going to give you drastically better fidelity. And
Yeah.
this is a great segue because Mortal Kombat 1 looks like a potato. It looks worse than potato. I will try to add into the video portion of the podcast some images, but if you don't, just go to Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I refuse to call it X, but
the artist formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, and you can go and look. And you've already seen some of these, I think, right?
Yes, I've seen a couple.
Let's get some more for you. Okay. So, yeah, it literally, if you go there, if you search MK1, MK Ultra, the government program. No, it lines up. It's a thing. So, Mortal Kombat 1. You can go see comparisons. You can go see like bad stuff that's on the Switch. You can just go see garbage,
right?
A garbage fire essentially. And I'm not usually one to jump on these. I'm like, okay, you know what? The Switch is not going to look as good. Don't buy it. But this looks like a money grab, 100%.
Yeah, that looks.
Yeah, if you look at the characters, their eyes look dead.
Dude, this looks like video games from like late 90s. Mid to late 90s. Like,
to be fair, it's hard. The eyes and expressions do. The graphics themselves actually are better than, I joke.
Oh, 100%.
They are better than PlayStation 1 and 2. But with the expressions, I don't know, man.
No, you're 100% right. Like the texturing, everything else, yes, that's way better than, your late 90s, 2000s, graphics.
Yeah.
But very much the facial expressions, the eyes, like I remember seeing games that looked exactly like this, like 20 plus years ago.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's, and this
also to say 20 plus anything years is gross.
It's disgusting. But what's not disgusting is that this game looks pretty good on the PS5.
Yeah, no, it really does. Like it
looks good on the PS5. And like when you look at the videos, and that's what we're looking at right now, is the motions, everything, the graphics look good. Now, what's really sad is that Mortal Kombat 11 on the Switch looked really good too. On this, so MK11 was just, it looked decent. Okay, I shouldn't say it looked really good. It looks much better than MK1 on the Switch, which is kind of funny. So the older version looks better than the newer version. And it's obviously their graphics engine and stuff. We want to get really into the deep of deep into things. Sorry, I've been talking all night, so my throat's a little dry.
Water?
Pit stop. So, it's sad. Nintendo can't, or it's not even Nintendo. Nintendo, I've been saying this for a few years now. It needed a new Switch 2 years ago. I know.
Well, we've been talking about them bringing out a Switch for how long now?
Yeah, and there's rumors now. I think the rumors are very much more strong these days that there's going to be a new Switch.
Yeah, but look at like what happened after their first attempt at a Mario movie. Look at how long it took them to make another Mario movie. This is not a company that does things quickly.
True, but I have a feeling their sales are suffering a little bit. I think they do well. Don't get me wrong. I still think, but companies, they all need to have those make more money every year kind of things. And I have a feeling that Switch, while people might disagree, I think they're starting to see the wane of things go, the things waning, that is.
Well, because honestly, the only reason to get a Switch, I feel like nowadays, is for your kid or something.
Or an exclusive Nintendo or Mario, Zelda. A new Zelda came out this year.
That's true.
Like your brother bought a Switch this year.
True. Yeah. Okay. I'm eating my words here.
But with how cash cow things work with, I don't know if this is an economic, but this is like a business principle. The cash cow principle of you make money, you spend a lot of money, make money, and it keeps growing, and then it plateaus, and it's going to plateau for a while, and eventually will start to sunset where you can't do much more to make, there's obviously things that can help, but it's either going to be a gradual or a big drop. And I think they're starting to see a little bit of a drop, meaning they need to start coming out with the next thing.
Right.
If this is business 101 with James.
Console came out. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go for it. I'm pretty much done.
What console came out after the NES?
Console that came out after the NES was the Super NES.
Okay, and after that?
N64.
Okay.
And then the GameCube, then the Wii U.
Okay, so they've kept up with a certain level of like consoles for a while.
Yeah, no, they've released a lot. Like the Wii was very unique, but towards the end of the Wii, it was not looking good, in my opinion. It was another thing. Like they've never like graphically been all out. I get it. This is not Nintendo's fault per se. The MK1, obviously MK11 looked better.
Right.
They could have made it look like the 11th Mortal Kombat. They did not. Instead, I'm assuming they went with. Honestly, this is the money grab. Let's be really honest over here.
Is it a money grab from the creators of MK1 or from Nintendo?
It's MK1. It's the money grab from.
Oh my, that's horrifying.
It's very horrifying. Yeah, if you go look at all the images, it's ridiculous. Or
the orthodontist.
No, her teeth look great. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, so Mortal Kombat 1 is made by I'm having to look this up. I always forget. It's Warner Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Which makes a little bit of sense in the sense of publishers. Then it's NetherRealm Studios is the developers for this one. I think they're the ones that built the last few. So we got Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 11. Oh, they did Injustice 2. Injustice is good.
Yeah, I like the Injustices.
So it's hard to say whether or not like maybe they're like doing something weird with their game engine, or they switched game engines. I'm not sure. I didn't look that far into it. But what ultimately I think happened, this is my own take, and I like to give developers the benefit of the doubt. I think Warner Brothers got a little greedy.
Right.
And they're like, you know what? Nintendo has a lot of people that will potentially buy this. And I have actually, come to think of it, I forgot I have Mortal Kombat 11 for my Switch. I thought it was pretty good because I was able to play it on the go. I would much rather play it on the Steam Deck, though.
Right.
Steam Deck's much better. Are your eyes going to make it?
I don't know. I might have to pause and like go check my eyes.
Nah, just close your eyes. You can just close your eyes and talk.
Yeah, we'll just sit here.
So, and if you can make it through 10 more minutes.
Be good.
Okay, we good?
I know. I'm just going to freak everybody out on YouTube because they're going to be like,
if you're watching this,
she's touching her eyes.
If you're watching this, you might want to listen to it. But yeah, so it's just to explain it. The characters, the models look really different.
Yeah.
Like the shirt doesn't have the pattern on it. Still, at least it's got a button. It almost looks like completely different models. It looks like a mannequin, but I feel like a mannequin looks more realistic than this creature does. This is the guy with the glasses. It's what's his face? I'm not gonna. I'm not going to remember off the top of my head right now. People are going to have fun with that one.
Also, he looks like he's changed ethnicities.
Yes. His skin tone is a little darker. It definitely looks like he has changed ethnicities. And it's one that I'm glad you brought that up, is one that I thought of too. But he's maybe almost like Indian or Middle Eastern now, but it's got
the uncanny like Coco Melon,
Oh,
early Pixar vibes,
kind of, except for at least this has like some sheen to it.
Yeah,
there's some sheen. I guess maybe Pixar has some sheen to it, but like it's got that dead eyes. They could have made the eyes maybe a little smaller. I don't know what it is, but those eyeballs.
You know what this face is? This is totally Chevy Chase's face in Christmas Vacation.
Yep.
That's what it looks like when he gets like all bug-eyed about something.
Yeah, it's a bug-eyed thing. Yes.
That's what it looks like.
Oh my gosh. I like that. That's a good comparison.
Hey, look, it's Griswold.
And then you have people on Twitter just making fun of it. Of like, here's a real, like, it's a really bright flash, and it really brings out their eyes, and they're almost deadpanned eyes in some of the photos. And it's just like, look, it's MK1. Right. And so people are having a lot of fun. I do think that bugs and weird things, I like to see people having fun with this type of stuff. Yeah. As opposed to, you know, completely shitting on the product or the developers and all that. And who knows? Maybe the developers did intend for this to be on Switch. I'm going to say it was the publishers. They wanted more money, and so they forced a bad port. I have a feeling it's also, sorry, I put it in again. I do apologize. I'm getting really bad at that today. But the thing too is this is only looking really bad on one platform, on one device, where everything else looks fine. So it's easier to like make fun of, where it's not something inherent about like the gameplay or the game itself looks really good, whatever on else that people can get mad about. I do have a feeling that people are going to say MK11 is going to look better than MK1 potentially. I mean, I've always heard stuff like that. People are like, well, the original looks better, or the last one looks better. They'll sometimes do that type of thing too. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. I don't know. A lot of debacles happening on and people forget, of course, like this will sell. It's not like we had bad ports, we had bad stuff 10, 20 years ago. It's just the internet's made it more amplified to where it's a little harder to get away with this type of stuff. It's just, they look like different games. Yeah. They look like different games. No, they do. Like I don't even know what to say to the way this thing looks. Yeah. I will say it. It was not meant to be for Switch. I think everyone else will. Yeah. It would be better to not have this on Switch and tempt people, because I think a lot of people are going to waste their money because they want Mortal Kombat. Yeah. I normally want to say, well, if it's fine, if it's on the system, or if it's available, at least people have the knowledge and stuff, and they can choose if they want it or not. Right. At the end of the day, though, like even on the Amazon store, it doesn't show any gameplay. Yeah. I think they know what they have, and they're just trying to milk it. Yeah. Which I know Warner Brothers. And they're trying to milk it for a $70 price tag. That's the worst part. This gnarly. This is overpriced at $40, in my opinion. Yeah. Just because of how bad the port is. Some people are going to play through it and enjoy it. I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, you know, it works fine for me. I don't need it to be perfect. It's the gameplay that I come for, not the graphics. For me, it's when I play these types of games, fighter games, it has to be the all-around experience. Right. I can go back and play some old games, even if it's not great graphics compared to today. That's what they had during that time. I can appreciate that. If I'm playing a new fighter game today, it better look pretty decent. Yeah. Also needs to mechanically work well. It needs to have some gotcha stuff to it, to where it keeps me playing the game multiple times, and not just have, back and forth. I can fight and then maybe unlock one or two guys. Right. Can't do those types of fighters anymore. It has to have a progression system. So I don't know. Is this you love the Injustice 2 games? or the Injustice games, that is, Injustice 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Would you play something like this? Like, is Mortal Kombat even your thing?
Well, like I have fun memories of playing Mortal Kombat with like cousins, because I had older cousins who had some of the earlier Mortal Kombats, and so I remember playing them, and I have like fond memories of them. So I've looked at this and been like, oh, that might be fun to like pick up as just sort of a nostalgia thing. I just definitely won't be doing it on the Switch.
Yeah. Would you play this on your Steam Deck? I have a feeling it's going to look better on the Steam Deck. I don't know how much better, though. I haven't looked at the Steam Deck stuff on this.
Let's put it this way. It's one for me at this, again, I would pick it up for nostalgia reasons.
Maybe PlayStation.
Maybe PlayStation.
I can see you enjoying it on the PlayStation. Like, like Injustice 1 and 2, you played a ton.
Yeah, true.
You love that game. I didn't even get through it all. I like the Injustices also too. I think they're really good games.
Yeah, I really liked
I'm more of a Mortal Kombat kind of person, but Street Fighter 6 also came out this year, and that one's got my eye. I've played so much Mortal Kombat that I'm actually, weirdly enough, this one's got me excited, but I think I want to play Street Fighter 6 more. But we'll see.
I can see that. Yeah. For me, I mean, it was going to be like this regardless anyways, of just waiting for it and seeing how it did. I don't know if it's one I would pay the $70. I could see myself maybe in a year or two when
picking it up.
Pick
it up for a little bit of a discount.
Yeah,
not for Switch. I mean, there could be some updates that come out that improve it. There could be stuff because there's even some performance issues and some pretty bad clipping bugs, and I think it's more separated to like Switch. So I don't know what's going on there, which is really weird. Updates could help a little bit.
Come to find out, it's all just a publicity stunt.
I hope not, because it doesn't look like there's certain publicity stunts that it can do and drive. Making your game look like a potato's not. What you would want to do is like have a fun trailer. Don't you want to play as a potato? And then have it be like a trailer, and then when it actually comes out, have it look really good. You want to beat their expectations. You don't want to like have them play it and then have it updated the next day and then not beat those expectations. Yeah, so
that'd be the worst April Fool's joke ever. Yeah. Could you imagine buying a game and it's terrible, and then the developers come out and be like, April Fools, here's the patch. It's amazing.
You know what? I'm not against that fully. I know most of the community, or most of the internet probably is. They don't probably like it.
Yeah.
Just knowing how many hate, like people even hate it. Like if a game comes out, and then they're like, well, we're going to have some updates come out. The Last of Us is a good example on PC. We're going to come out with a couple of updates to improve performance. Well, a week later, they improve performance. Not a whole lot. And so maybe this isn't the best example, but over the few weeks, they improve the game enough to where I'm like, okay, this is, it has some balance or some performance issues still that they need to really iron out of the engine.
But is part of that because they're trying to like get community feedback on how it is?
That's the thing that people forget, is that even in a testing group, it's really hard to get a ton of data.
Right.
And the more data and the more telemetry that they can get, meaning more, just
more hands on the game, the more they're gonna know like problems.
Yeah. So if they see, oh, hey, this certain place in the game has a really high or really low frame rate for these portions of computers with graphics cards and stuff like that. People don't realize how much telemetry and getting this type of data, analytical data, helps with debugging and improving.
Right.
That being said, I will not give developers a complete out with this reason. I do think that they need to take some responsibility.
Right.
They can get 100 people. They can pay 100 people testing the game for a couple of weeks, have it play through multiple times and multiple different types of hardware, hire a studio. There's studios that do this and just do it. But they don't. I think they honestly just want to save money. It's about, making a profit,
Cha-ching.
more profit every year. They're already making tons of money. Like most games these days, especially if it's off a franchise like Last of Us, is going to make, like, they made their money. They made their money a long time ago, and then just like a remaster, it's guaranteed moneymaker.
Right.
It's more or less not caring about the individual gamer and kind of where the industry is going, where the industry and gaming as an art form is being essentially businessized, like business. It's not really a word. I don't know the right word, but essentially capitalism's coming in and saying, you know what? We know that games are more of a medium of just that you have to have creativity. Writing a book, right? If you don't have enough creativity and if it's not unique enough, why would people buy it?
Right.
Games are similar. If there's not enough uniqueness, not something that's going to grab them, why build it? But they're finding out.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm talking on forever. They're finding out that certain audiences, that there's formulas to milk as much out as possible.
Yeah. And to that point, like, it's the same thing with like film. Like, when we were growing up, we had Jurassic Park, we had Pulp Fiction, we've had Fight Club, what you name it. There were so many classics that came out as we were growing up. And now there are good movies and shows still being made, but it feels like there are fewer and far between like the big like superhero films and the remakes and the Disney live action whatever nonsense. And part of that is because, like, with streaming, most of these companies, like film studios, are losing money on their films because they could almost always guarantee to make up money on the back end of, like, their movie comes out, they make their box office, gains, and then they could always guarantee to have money come in from, rentals and buying of the.
I don't think that's true.
And it might not be.
I'm not saying that you're not or what. I'm not trying to disprove what you're saying. From what I've learned recently, because of the strikes and everything, and they will mark down things as losses up front, even though the movie will make tons of money over time.
Right.
So what happens is that, and it even happened with the box office, with the rentals, with everything else, they'll mark things off so they don't have to give residual checks out to writers, whoever it is. They really screw a lot of people that build these things for profit.
And that totally makes sense.
A lot of things that were not profitable, but were obviously profitable, and made tons of money. They'll do these tricks. It's a Hollywood accounting, I think is what you could look it up if you're if anyone's interested. Games haven't done this as much, but I don't think they do residuals or they don't do certain things. Voice actors, maybe potentially if you're big enough, but no, most of the profit trickles up to shareholders and execs. I don't think a lot of regular developers actually get a whole lot. Like if you look at like how much game do, So getting away from it all, I want more money to be injected. I want people to make more money from the stuff that they make. I am an aspiring
but really,
game developer.
Really quickly, just to finish my point, is just simply that, like, I think what you said is super important, and I didn't realize what you just said. But the point I was making is just the studios kind of go after, like, nowadays, they're more interested in going after big name stuff that they know is going to make them tons and tons of money. And so small indie projects, smaller projects that you might have seen, 20 years ago, they're not getting made because they're not.
Netflix was the exception. I think some people don't like Netflix, but despite it, they did do indie style more, but it also hurt them, and I could see them going away from it a little bit.
Yeah. So, yeah. At the end of the day, it's both things. It's all the things of just companies going after unending profits.
Yeah.
Unending gains. Like they just want year over year increasing gains, you know?
Yeah, it will be interesting to see where it ends because we're already seeing a lot of AAA studios, AAA publishers, AAA, just quadruple A, I think is even another term for this. We're seeing things kind of unravel a little bit.
Right.
We've had a lot of bombs the last few years, and not every game's going to be a killer, but I think it's pretty easy for certain games to like get a test of, will this be good or not? Do we need to rework this game completely? There's so many different games that have come out, like I said. If it's mediocre, that's fine. Like sometimes you just got to release a mediocre game and there's going to be a group of people that like it or love it. But you're going to potentially lose some money. And I think this is the part where people also forget, if we're getting back onto now saying gamers don't realize sometimes it takes money to make these things. If we want to pay everyone, if you want to make sure they're whatever, like you got to have some cushion too. So you want to make enough money, put some away for the next project or for failures. Because if there's the next project's a failure or studios goes under, it's gone. Let's say Dead Space is a great one. Dead Space 3 killed their studio. Partially EA's fault, and I do blame EA to this point.
Right.
I think that the EA's rebooting Dead Space and how it's going is a great redemption arc, but it still hurt the studio. A lot of people suffered, and it killed the company. And it's Dead Space 3 didn't do bad.
Right.
It's just they spent too much money on marketing, and people have heard this a lot. And obviously they did not spend any marketing on Mortal Kombat 1 Switch in the sense of people don't know what they're getting there, but they have spent a ton of money on Mortal Kombat 1's marketing for the current gen PS5 and Series X.
Right.
So people might be a little misunderstanding of what they're getting with their Switch package.
Right.
Where with Dead Space 3, it was PC and the current was PS3 and Xbox 360, I believe is when Dead Space 3 came out. People kind of were expecting what it was like. Graphically, it wasn't bad. Story, people don't like it as much, but there was a huge hand from EA.
Right.
And that's my point is publishers getting their hands into things and ruining it. And this is a great example with publisher. A lot of assumptions getting their hands into the wanting more money with the Mortal Kombat 1.
Right.
And I think
putting their fingers in the pie.
Yeah. I need to stop getting their fingers in that pie and maybe let people know, like, who know what they're doing.
Now I'm realizing what a perfect villain Jack Horner was in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. He's the dude that sticks his thumb, pulls out a plum from the pie.
I just can't stop thinking about pie now. I just want to eat pie. You started saying that, I'm like, I know where she's going with this, and I'm just like, I want pie. I want pumpkin pie with a bunch of whipped cream on top.
I want a good lemon meringue. That's my favorite pie.
This might as well be cake. I agree, though.
Delicious.
I agree.
That's all I know.
There's like apple and cherry overrated for pie. Pies can be overrated, but like you get into like meringues and like, I don't know, pumpkin pie I think is not. I think some people might think it's overrated, but yeah. Relating that back to the games, pumpkin pie is great. Pumpkin pie from Costco is like Mortal Kombat 1 for Switch. I'm just kidding. I still eat it. I enjoy it, but it does not. It's not a quality.
It's a basic pumpkin pie. Like
it's undercooked.
Yeah,
it's undercooked, and
so throw it in the oven. Cook it just a little bit more.
Maybe I should. Maybe I'm going about this all wrong. All I know is that I will still eat it because I love pumpkin pie and you get tons of it. But talking about squashes, what's pumpkin again? Is it a squash?
It's a squash.
It's a squash.
Yeah. Gourd, squash. I think it's a squash.
I think it's a squash. Yeah. So to squash this topic down a little bit, ultimately, pumpkin, not pumpkin. I want pumpkin. But ultimately,
publishers. Both starts with a P.
No, I Are we going to see a difference? Comments below. If you comment on this video, do you think we're going to see this get better? Do you think there's going to be a remedy to this MK Ultra? Okay, it's not Ultra, but I want to keep on saying it. If you don't know what that is, go look it up on the internet. It's a government program. Fascinating and also scary. But MK1 debacle, do you think they're going to resolve it with a patch? Do you think they're going to resolve it with a price decrease? Do you think they're going to go back, rework everything, or they're just going to shut up and probably have this blow away in a couple weeks?
It's hard to say. Very few. The only company or production that I've ever seen like do good is like with the Sonic film, where they released the trailer and Sonic looked like a potato. And then they went and they
at least it's not that bad.
Yeah. And then they went and redid him, like his CGI, and made it a lot better. That's the only time I've ever seen it like really happen where they were like, oops, we effed. Let's fix this problem. So we'll see with Mortal Kombat if they take
I don't
a lesson.
know. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to. Maybe they can tweak some stuff. There's always a chance because MK11 does look okay.
Mm-hmm.
If they can at least, and I know that I think it got some grief a little bit too now that I'm thinking back, but if they can get it back to that, then there might be some hope. But at the end of the day, guys, stop buying games that are AAA that are meant for these current / next gen consoles for an old gen console. Yeah. Switch, pretty old in the graphical sphere.
Mm-hmm. And I get it. Like if it's the only device that you have, like that's a hard call. But yeah, it is kind of getting to that point where it's like maybe the only games you're going to be able to justify are Nintendo's own brand.
Yeah.
And maybe some indie games that don't
support indies. Like it's just
graphic side as much.
It really is. It's not a pleasing game. And I have a hard time. Normally I'm usually a little bit more like, okay, there's some redemption here. This game doesn't look good. And I just don't recommend it to anyone that has a Switch, except for the diehard people that just have to have it. And go for it. I'm not going to ruin your time. I just do think that the publisher needs to learn, and Nintendo needs to learn that we need a new Switch. Yeah. And that things are just not, if they really want to make more money, they need to pop down that number 2. Count to 2 now. Let's do it. 1, 2. Wasn't very hard, was it? Okay. With that, what's also not very hard is hitting that like button, subscribing or following, whatever you're doing, if you're listening to this on Spotify, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're on Spotify or Apple or whatever, make sure to rate us. A nice 5 out of 5 would be nice, but whatever you think we deserve, please do it. It helps us grow, helps everything, and it makes me happy. If you want to see a smile on my face that doesn't just come from pumpkin pie. Yeah, exactly. Please do that. Also, I have other links that oftentimes accompany these types of videos, and I figured I'd just do a little bit of a shout out at the end of this. So check those out. With that, thank you for stopping by. Then bonus level, the bonus episode will be interesting because it might just be me. Peace out, guys. Later.
Bye.
Congrats. Secret level unlocked. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter to curb that craving for more. If you like this episode, then make sure to leave a like, rating, follow, or whatever the platform has. Also, make sure to check out our merch at shop.gamesrevealed.com or shopundead.com. Peace.